Hello guys, Sue Jerry speaking. Welcome to Bedtime Stories, episode number 239. And today we read you Curious George Gets a Mail by A.J. Ray. Ugh. So let's just read it anyway. Curious George Gets a Mail by A.J. Ray. Published by Hosh and Muffins Company in Boston. Now, this is getting even more stupid to read. Now, if you saw my bedtime stories of Curious George years ago, you know I thought it would be stupid. Back then, I thought it was cool, but now it just, why? And if you watch it, if you saw the touchdown, please ignore that. But that's just me. Anyway. This is the 1997 edition, and I'm not going to be able to copyright 1957 by A.H. Ray. All right, deserved. Now, as a PBS Kids fan, I am not really a huge fan of that show nowadays, unfortunately. Because if you saw my YouTube channel version, Appalachian 94 channel nowadays, you know, PBS Kids Blast in the past, you know I talk about this. And it's fortunate status because I had to talk about this. That was my last recordings of my papa's passing. Because I want to record PBA 30 on VHS before Papa passed away. Now, so let's just read it now. Anyway. This is George. He lives with his friend, the band and the yellow hat. Oh God. He was a good little monkey and always be a little curious. George is alone this morning. He looks at the picture book when the doorbell rang. Now this is getting even more stupider and stupider and stupider and stupider. Next page. Anyway. It was the mailman. Here's a letter for you, he said. Put it on your friend's desk. He'll read it to you when he comes home. George is curious. It was not often that somebody wrote him. Too bad he would not read the letter, but maybe he could write one himself. It is the top drawer of the desk with the paper and ink and the fountain pen. Number one, you can't do that. Number two, it's against the law. You know, take it to zoo, prison, you know. Anyway, there was paper and ink and the George sat down on the floor, began to write, but the pen was dry. Good. That was good. I really don't care about it anymore. So, there you go. Next page. Anyway, because that was after my time. But, you know, it was torn. Anyway. It needed ink. Why? That was too much ink for you, George. Anyway, George went to have to fill it. He got a funnel into the kitchen and started pouring ink. Nobody cares about that. Sorry. But instead of going to the pen, the ink and spill over the oh no, stop. It's a mess, jeez. It's an awful mess. Don't even bother. Anyway, quickly George got a bottle from a desk, but that was no help. Screw it, The puddle grew bigger all the time. George had to think of something else. Why soap and water? Number one, you can't do that. Just don't even bother. That's what you clean up with. The kitchen shelf, you got a big box of soap and powder and pour over powder and over ink. Okay, good luck with that. You get in trouble for doing that and spank your ass about it. We're discussing bodies, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, next page. Anyway. Then he pulled the guardhouse and through the window Open the tap and spray water in the powder. Number 1, that is a big no-no. 2, that is just wrong. And 3, you don't do that. You know? Bubbles began to form, and there's some laughter, and more laughter, and more laughter, and more laughter. This is terrible. Terrible read. But it's no time the whole room was full of laughter. So full indeed that George had to escape in a hurry. He may get killed for that. I don't know. I might be harsh about this, but I'm not a huge fan of this series and the books. When he was safely out of the house, he first turned up to the top. But what's next? How could he get rid of all the laughter before his friend come home? Yeah, loser. Anyway, George sat down on the grass and flied for a long time. Finally, he had an idea. We could fly the big shovel and shovel the fire out of the window. Wow, what an absolute asshole. Sorry, language, but anyway. What's the ladder? While George has been outside thinking, it almost been turned into water. Seriously? Now the room looks like a lake, and the furniture like islands in it. The shovel was no use. The pump was what George needed. It was flooding outside. I don't know what to do next. Inside. I don't know what to do with you, George. Screw you. Next page. Anyway. To get the water out, and he knew just to the fire one. He then saw the portable pump in the farm down the road, and the farmer was away and working in the fields. Nobody knows George when he got to put the pump out of the shield. It was heavy, and he would need help to pull it out all the way back to the house. It's against the law, number 1, and number 2, you can't do that. It's terrible. You know, that's just me. Next page. Anyway, maybe you could tie the goat in the pump, make her pull it. Wow. But just as George was about to slip the loop over the goat's head, he was hurried through the air and landed near a pen full of pigs. No, stop. The biggest pig was standing near the gate. When George opened the gate, it just pulled enough to let him out. But a big pig is easily pull a small pump. Carefully, George flipped the latch. Before he knew it, wow, just stupid enough, I know. Before he knew it, all the pigs just burst out in the pen. Wow. Grunting, squealing, trying to get away as fast as he could. George was decided, yeah. You had never seen anything like it. For the moment, all the troubles were forgotten. But now the pigs were all gone. Not a single one was left to help him with the pump. You know, George, you're in big trouble now. You know, I really hate you for that nowadays. Because I'm not a huge fan of this series and the books. But this is stupid. You know. Next page. Anyway. Luckily, there are cows gathering nearby. Cows were generally strong. It was mean nothing to a cow to pull a pump into him. And this time, George was right. Wow. the cow did not mind being tied to the pump. Wow. She even let him climb on her back. And off they went. George is glad now he could be soon to be home, pump out the room, and everything would be alright. You know, that was against the law. You may have to go to jail for that. Jeez. Anyway, meanwhile, the farmer, oh boy, and his son, heard the squealing of the pigs. Okay? They rushed home to the fields and now had their hands full of catching all the pigs. Not until the last pig was safely back in the pen did they have the time for look around. What did they see? A little monkey riding on the cow, making it up with the pen, the pump. Yup. I don't know next, but this is stupid. You know, that's just me. Next page. Anyway, the chase was on. George and the cow were headed first. If you watch this, the touchdown parts, please ignore that. But anyway, we're headed first. The pump was slowing them down. The farmer was getting closer and closer, but now I almost caught without him. Where was George? Being an absolute whatever it was. I don't know. Next page. Anyway, here he was, hiding the shirt. Wow. The farmer had run past him. Wow. But on the way home, they had to come back over the same road. George did not feel safe in the hiding place. Just then a truck came rattling down the road. George jumped down and aboard. Monkeys are good at jumping. Wow. And he was gone before the farmers had the chance to see him. Well, at least you're safe, you know. You got the cow, and George was in big trouble. So that was good enough. So there you go. Next page. Anyway, the truck drove to the part of the town that George had never seen before. Wow. At last it stopped in the front of a large building. It was a museum. George did not know what a museum was. You don't know what a museum was? I don't know what to do with you, George. Anyway, he was curious. While the guard was busy reading the paper, but George slipped inside. He was walking up the steps and into the room full of all the sort of animals. Wow. At first, George was scared, but then he noticed that they did not move. They were not alive. Thank you. Anyway, they were stuffed animals put in the museum, and so that everybody could get a go up at them. Yup, exactly, George. You just don't know. You want to be kicked out from the museum, please? Thank you. Anyway, next page. Anyway, in the next room, George saw something so enormous that it took his breath away. It was a dinosaur. Kind of like the body of a dinosaur. And if you saw it in the early days of Barney. So anyway, George was not scared at this time. He knew it was not real. Jesus. Anyway, he looked at the dinosaur and then hit the baby dinosaur. And then he saw the palm tree full of nuts. I'm allergic, sorry. George loved nuts. Ugh, stupid idea. I know. Suddenly he felt a little hungry. They had missed lunch that day. He would climb up and just then he could hear footsteps. He had to hide again, but where? No, yeah, I don't know what to do with you, George. Please. Thank you. Next page. Anyway, a family came to take a look at the dinosaur. They paid no attention to the little monkey who was standing there. The monkey did not move. He stood so that they thought they had just another stuffed animal. George was glad they were gone, but they had to pick the nuts. Terrible idea. He climbed the dinosaur's neck and started to pull, but the nuts would not come off. George did not know they were not real either. Thank you. Anyway, he pulled harder and harder the tree, so it began to sway. Yep, told you. You're screwed. Anyway. Crash. Okay. I don't know what to do next with this monkey. Whatever. Down came the tree on the dinosaur's head. Down came the dinosaur. And down came George. Guards come rushing down in the front of all sides. And underneath followed the dinosaur, they found a little monkey. They pulled him out of there, brought him to Professor Weissman, who was the director of the museum. Professor Weissman was terribly angry. Wow. Locked the naughty monkey up right away. Thank you! Thank you! He said, and take him back to the zoo. He might have run away from there. Number 1, yes, take the monkey to the zoo. Number 2, it's against the law to have a monkey be curious in the zoo in other areas. And 3, you gotta take him to some areas other than like zoo, please. Thank you. Like, this is zoo. Thank you. Next page. Anyway, George was carried off in the cage when he felt so ashamed he almost wished he was dead. Suddenly the door opened. George suddenly shouted, it was his friend. The man with the yellow hat seemed that you got yourself in a lot of trouble today, he said. But maybe this letter here will get you out of it. It was from Professor Weissman. He needs your help for the experiment. I found it in the desk at the home, but I couldn't find you anywhere. So I come over here to talk to the professor. Jesus. And this is what the letter said. I don't know what to do next. Dear George, small space, things, anyway. Ships, been built by over experimental station. Yeah, it's too small for a man, but could carry a little monkey. No, stop. Anyway, will you, be willing to go up to it? No, stop. Stay in the zoo. Thank you. I have never met you, but I heard that you are a bright little monkey who can do all sorts of things, and that is just what we need. We want you to do something nobody has done before. Sail out into space. I can't pronounce it. Anyway, in flight, we will flash you in a signal. You will have to open the door and bail out in the help and emergency rockets. Okay, we hope that you are willing to that. Your friend will. I can't pronounce that. Sorry. Well, we'll help you go. Gratefully yours, Professor Weissman, Director of the Science Museum. Well, that is going to be thank God moment. So thank God for that. Anywho. Now, for this next page is going to get better. So you are George, Professor Weissman said. If I would have known, of course, anything will be forgiven. If you're going to willing to go. They got the smallest size spacesuit for George and all the other things he needed for the flight. They could help him put them on and show him how to use them. While everything was ready, a truck drove him up this tough special television screen monitor which to watch the flight. Okay, that just make no sense. Stop it. Anyway. I don't know. Stop. Checklist 1. Spacesuit. 2. Space helmet. 3. Oxygen tank. 4. Oxygen rockets. And 5. Parachute. There's going to be some numbers. It'll be stupid. But thank you. No thank you. Anyway. They all got on and were off the launching site. They check on all the controls in the spaceship. Special level of open the door. George tried as well. It's just tough. You know, I hated this book with a passion, you know? Especially the series and the books. I told you about this many times in the Curious George Bedtime story episode, and I thought, it's a stupid book to read. But anyway. Okay. Move on. The great moment has come. George waved goodbye and went aboard. The doors was closed. First Wiseman began to count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. He pressed the button and the ship was in the air and slowly first, and then faster and faster and higher until they got no longer see if they can in the sky. But on the screen, yeah, it's gonna get stupider. Yeah, he's not an astronaut. Anything. He's in a zoo for crying out loud. And here it is. They saw George curvy all the time, okay? Now the moment had come for George, okay? To bail out. Professor Wiseman flashed a signal. They watched the screen. George did not move, okay? Why didn't he pull the lever? In a few seconds, it would be too late. The ship would be lost in outer space with George in it. Had a spill over this book I read. But anyway, they waited. I accidentally have pronounced this word. Sorry. At last, George began to move. Slowly, it was as if in the days, it was dropping in the lever. Will he ever reach in the time? He would have to grab it. The door opened. Hurrah! I don't know. George was in his way. Out of the blue, an open parachute came falling down to earth. Wow. The truck had raced open the spot when George was landed. This is going to get tougher and tougher in the end. And overall, it's going to get stupider. Last pages in the book. What a welcome for George. Professor Wiseman brought a big gold medal around his neck. Because he said, you are the first living being to come back on the Earth from the space flight. And on the medal it said to George from the first space monkey. No. Anywho, then the newspaper's man took his picture and everybody shouted and cheered. And even the farmer and the son and the kind woman that next door was working the hours to get the water off of the room. Thank God. Anyway, I'm proud of you, George, said the man with the yellow hat. I guess the world was proud of you today. It was happier day of George's life. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the end of the story. And yeah. So that was Curious George Gets a Medal. It was awful. So far, I don't like the book, and it will not go in the tote, unfortunately. I had to put it in the trash because I'm not gonna be able to read this again for you guys, and this is not gonna be my favorite for me. Sorry. And that was the Bedtime Stories episode number 239. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned. The next one's gonna be 240th episode of Bedtime Stories, which is gonna be about sharks. Little Golden Book edition. Now, excuse me, I gotta get ready for watching the rest of the Georgia Bulldogs game, and then I gotta get some shut eye for the night, because instead of making Blues Jokes episode for the night, I gotta get some sleep, because I have to spend the rest of the day, just spend time in the morning, just say, hell, I gotta get ready for tomorrow, and things like that. Till next time, Sweet Joseph, Papa, baby, good boy, business, so, to out. See ya.